Hello members, colleagues of CPMR. This is a different way we have tried this year to actually present to you the activity report. We're going to send you this video on top of the actual activity report in paper that you must have already received. The European Union priorities and the agenda has changed, of course, to follow the COVID pandemic. What we have tried ourselves to do is to accompany you in your endeavor to really do anything in your power to help your citizens under the COVID outbreak. So the three areas I would like to focus on is to see how we have worked to strengthen the involvement of regional authorities to the very, very impressive pack the European Commission has proposed to address and secure sufficient financial resources for the European Union to combat the COVID pandemic consequences. So you have seen this important package, and we have been really instrumental in actually working ahead of these proposals with our members and with the European Parliament and with the European Commission to make sure that there is an understanding of the important issues at stake during this pandemic. We had meetings with Marc Lemaitre, as you know, in our AGM to discuss about how we need an ambitious budget. We had meetings with European Parliament presidents of relevant commissions to us, like Younous Omarjee, who is the president of the Regi Committee in the European Parliament, or the negotiators like Margarita Marquez and Jan Olbrycht on the financial package. Also, the president of the PECH, of the Fisheries Committee, Pierre Karleskind, our own vice president of Brittany, who is also the chair of this particular committee. So we have been organizing ourselves to actually expose the issues and aspirations and difficulties to explain what should be done in terms of maritime, transport, regional policy, economic development in our peripheral maritime regions. For the transport sector, we wanted an appropriate relief package for EU to do, and we have seen that coming up, of course, in the final version of the detailed implementation plan for the motorways of the sea. So there again, we have been successful in actually securing some of the funds and some of the attention to be paid on our peculiar issues addressing the peripheral maritime regions we represent. The second issue I want to discuss with you is the whole issue about the MFF, the EU budget. You know how thorough we are in actually analyzing what's been proposed and trying to really explain to you what is at stake and what can you do or what can we do within the European Union arena to make sure that the EU budget is ambitious, is relevant, and has a territorial dimension to it. Now, we are not very happy, and you've seen this in our papers, that the MFF proposal, despite being an important and ambitious one, is reduced in terms of the amounts proposed. And we have said over and again, we don't want to have the COVID recovery fund and that be, in the detriment to an ambitious EU budget. It's the period that demands to have an important recovery fund and an important and very ambitious MFF. So we have always been there suggesting this and explaining this with figures and with analysis that they have reached the desks of the European institutions ahead of time. We also organized a number of meetings. A very timing meeting that we had organized during summertime was with the Budget Commissioner, Johannes Hahn, who is no stranger to CPMR. So we met with 5 of our presidents, members of the Political Bureau, to explain how important it is that an ambitious MFF, an ambitious EU budget is there. And it was timely scheduled, this meeting, because it happened after the proposal of the European Commission and before the agreement of the member states. So we really were there explaining to him what are the ambitions, what are the issues, and how the Commission, how the European institutions can tackle those. We also made a lot of media announcements about our positions in Brussels and in national capitals, trying of course, to influence how the member states would actually undertake this MFF budget ambition, and how can they just really promote the messages we have been establishing together. We have also worked, and that's my third and last point, to promote the territorial dimension of the EU budget, of the recovery fund, of all the legislative packages that are under negotiation today. For instance, on the climate change, it's important to mention the regions. Not to mention them because we represent regions and we are happy to see them being mentioned. It's because there is no adaptation, there is no Green Deal delivery unless we really have the regions involved. So Regions Act is what we've done, is really demonstrating, outlining our current work, what we have been doing since before, during the corona outbreak, and what we will do anyway in the future. Also on transport, it's important, I'm very proud to say that the 10 Ts have been influenced to a large extent to actually address the issues of the peripheral maritime regions. We work extensively with our members to actually influence the mobility pillar of the Green Deal, the sustainable mobility strategy. This is for us important because it affects our members, and these members are important players in the European Union. Now, on migration, we have been very active. We have a task force on the subject, you know that. We have been really trying to say to the European institutions that there is a role for the local and regional authorities. They are the first, they are the front runners in the migration outbreak. So it's important for us to have an involvement, a direct involvement of local and regional authorities. And the recent pact does include the role for local and regional authorities. So for us, we consider this being a success for our work. Last but not least, the CARICA intergroup in the Parliament. We are now for a third mandate, and we had already meetings despite the outbreak, meetings with the European Commissioner for Maritime Affairs. We discussed during this intergroup meeting how the outbreak of COVID has really impacted on the maritime issues. And we have also made another webinar online on the crisis on the tourist sector. We know very well how much this sector has been impacted by the COVID outbreak. So, dear members, I hope I managed to give you a flavor of what we have done over this last year. And I hope that you realize that this year CPMR is more relevant than ever. Thank you.